In today's video, I'm sharing 3 works in progress and asking the age-old question to finish or to frog. Hello and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Midweek Ramble. This is a video where I share with you one topic and keep it rather concise and to the point. And today I want to share with you 3 works in progress I pulled out of my archive of works in progress to decide whether or not I'm going to keep them or frog them. I have taken notes, you guys, to keep this as organized as I possibly can. It's appropriate to have this like coffee stain on it. So stamp of approval, but I have notes here to walk through. I did a proper pros and cons for each of the patterns that I have here, or each of the works in progress that I have here. So I'm going to share with you the project, give you a quick look at it, and then I'm going to tell you some of my pros and cons. And at the very end of the video, I will decide whether I'm going to keep it. Actually, I'm going to decide whether I'm going to keep it or frog it after I show you each particular design. But regardless of what I come up with here, please feel free to let me know your opinion down in the comment section, especially if you think that there's a pattern that the yarn that I have over here would be better suited for. I will be sharing with you how much yarn I have, so it kind of gives us an idea of where we can go with that. And I actually have also come up with some alternative patterns should I decide to frog all or some of these projects. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the Koivua pullover by Caitlyn Hunter. This is knit using Green Mountain Spinnery from Vermont. It is their Mewesic yarn, which is DK base. This is woolen spun yarn, really light and lofty in the, I think this is called like Mr. Mustard, Colonel Mustard, I can't remember, but this is kind of like a mustardy green. And then this is the Ragtime base, very similar to kind of like a spin cycle. It has that marled look and it's gradient, really beautiful blue color. And that is what I'm using. Those are the only 2 colors I'm using for this design. Okay, so here it is. I'll let you get up a little closer in there so you can kind of see where I've gotten so far with my work. So I've got about 1/3 of this color work motif finished. There's a lot more that happens down below. It's like one long feather motif, and I'll pop a picture up so you can see it in all its glory. The obvious pro for this are these gorgeous colors. I love that mustard green with the blue that's kind of a gradient. So you start out here with this really pretty, almost like sea Caribbean blue color, and then it grades into this really pretty deep steely blue, almost like an indigo blue. And there are even marled in the yarn. It's probably easier for me to show you on the actual cake, but if you look at the marled yarn, you can see there's this really pretty charcoal gray that kind of tempers and tones all of the colors in here. It's really fantastic. I will link the exact yarns down below in the description box so that you can go see for yourself. And I don't want to drop any stitches here. But I really love the yarn. My first pro for this project would definitely be the yarn. I also love that the design features texture in addition to the color work. So you can see up here, you not only have those beautiful color work motifs, but you also have that lovely texture that runs through the yoke of the sweater. And that carries through, that design element carries through the rest of the pattern. It comes up on the sleeves, about midway down the sleeve, you get a little bit more of that texture. And then I think the body of the sweater towards the bottom, you're also gonna get some more of that texture. And I love that. Adds a lot of visual interest. It's very unique. Okay, the other thing that I love about this sweater is I do love the potential shape. Now, when I say potential shape, I mean that when I look at the sweater on the sample, the one that I show you here, I like the shape that I see here. However, I call that potential shape. I like it when it has a good amount of ease. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not 100% sure which size I am knitting here because it's been so long and I need to go back and do some counting to figure out exactly which size this is. But whatever size this is, I really want a solid medium when it comes to the sizes that are offered in this pattern, because I want the roominess of the sample image. And I also want it to kind of, if anything, I want it to err on the side of, you know, like between a medium and a large. I really feel like that's kind of a deal breaker for me if this sweater were to be any smaller than that, because on the more closer fitting versions of this, I just don't like the shape. I don't think it's flattering. I think that because you have almost this like hourglass bubble shape to the sleeves, and you also have the hemline. It's not a ribbed hemline. It almost kind of looks like an I-cord type hemline. Those kinds of things, just in my opinion, don't look good when they are kind of more form-fitting. So that's a big one for me. So I love the shape, but it is contingent on the positive ease factor. So I would say that's kind of a pro and a con. Really, honestly, as I'm holding it and I'm looking at these yarns, I really feel that it still has a place in my heart. I'm feeling myself getting excited about this. Okay, next is the Still Point sweater by Tiff Neilan hand knits. Okay, this is also a long languishing whip, probably shortly after, actually, yeah, I think I casted this one on shortly after I casted on the Koivua. It was around that time. And I've made so much progress on this sweater that this decision, if I were to frog this, it's a lot of progress that is going to be just ripped out. And I really think it's unhealthy to look at that as time wasted. I think it's important that as knitters, crocheters, makers, what have you, if you need to scrap something because it doesn't make you happy or bring you joy, regardless of how much time you've put into it, that is not time wasted. That is, first of all, a lot of really good time that you spent knitting, which is just very good for you in general. And it's also opportunity for you to learn and strengthen and sharpen your knitting skills. So we're going to move forward just knowing that if you have a bunch of progress, but you don't like the project and it's not bringing you joy, it's not wasted time if you rip it back and start something fresh. Not at all. Okay, that being said, this is a ton of progress. This is pretty much an entire, I think that I was about to start ribbing for the bottom of the sweater. And then it would be sleeves. So the sweater is nearly complete. But a few things. As I knit the sweater, I started realizing that it's just so big. Okay, for example, let's just go ahead and play around here, because I'm telling you, it's just really big. I don't know, I did not gauge swatch for this. What a surprise! And I think it's too big. Like, you could learn a lesson or two from this. I have very rarely ever not gauge swatched. How do I say this? I've rarely had any issues with gauge. Okay, like, knock on wood, but I rarely have. And so, you develop this confidence that nothing could possibly go wrong. Well, let's go ahead and throw it on and you can get an idea. And I actually don't know where the front is. Yeah, so here we are. Wow, okay. All right, here we are. So this is the Still Point sweater, Tiff Neilan. Wow, now I don't know if I'm reconsidering. Guys, going into it, I was thinking this was going to be a frog. I for sure was thinking that just because I felt like it was obviously too large. You can see that there's some really pretty detail work on this. Some nice lace happening here with some little baubles and a really pretty kind of floofy neckline. And I don't know if I like that. You remember those Hanes t-shirt commercials where they would talk about the bacon collar, when your collar would get kind of flappy and it looked like a strip of bacon? I feel like because of the size that I knit here, the design element that is actually quite beautiful when it's knit to the size that's intended is really pretty. But in the way that mine was knit with the sizing, it just looks kind of floppy and messy. And then another thing too, from my vantage point where I'm sitting and I'm looking in the little screen of my camera, I can't see this at all. The detail, meaning I can't see the baubles, I can't see the lace work. It gets completely lost in the yarn. And this is actually one of my cons for this. I don't know if I've even given you any pros yet, and I'll give you some because I do have them. But my cons is that this color, which is a beautiful color in its own right, this is Fiber for the People yarn in the Claret colorway on the BFL DK base. So it's 100% superwash blueface luster, DK weight, gorgeous color. However, for something that has lace work and baubles, there's just not enough luminosity here to help you see those things. There are dark colors that can work for something like this. For example, I knit a Magnolia Bloom pullover that has lots of that going on in a really dark green colorway, the Endor colorway by Fiber for the People. And you could really see all of that beautiful work up here. But this one, it's just not doing it. So all of that work that you do here, all of that pretty detail is somewhat lost in the dark color of the yarn. And as I'm wearing this, and I'm wearing it over a shirt, which is not common for what I would be doing with a sweater, not a shirt quite as like blousey as this, it just feels really big. It kind of feels potato sacky on me. Like, look at this. That's a lot of positive ease, and that's just not necessary for me. Even like if I wanted it to be just a cozy throw over sweater, I just don't think that the design, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that leads me to my next kind of con about this, is that I just don't have an emotional attachment to it. Like right now I'm wearing it and it's so close to being finished and I still have no problem at the prospect of ripping it out. My pros for this one was that I loved the yarn. I'm biased, obviously, this is Fiber for the People yarn, but I really do love the BFL DK yarn is like one of my favorites in my line. I love the colorway, but I just feel like because there's no, like, I don't know, emotional attachment to it, it's just a non-starter or non-finisher. And I was looking at some alternatives of what I could do in lieu, or if I were to rip out that project. So let me show you what I came up with. Okay, there were two options. One, I just don't think I'm gonna have enough yarn for it. It's Helen Stewart's newest shawl design. It just came out yesterday, like no joke. It just came out and I can't remember, what is it called? I think it's called like Easy, oh there it is, yeah, Simply Curious Shawl. And I saw that and I thought, yes, that just looks perfect. It looks nice and simple. Just what I need. I'm not a shawl knitter unless of course the shawl is very simple. Yeah, so there's that. I was thinking that would work. However, it says in the details of the design on the Ravelry page, it says actual yarn used 320 grams of DK weight yarn and I only have 309. And I could dye more, but I don't like the idea of doing that because this is a dye lot from years ago. I want to say 2.5 years ago. And my dye lots stay relatively consistent, but with a color like this, I can't guarantee that it's going to be that consistent. I mean, I'm only human, so I wouldn't even want to risk that. So I don't know if I'm going to embark on that and hope for the best. I just think I need to choose something else, which I did. I chose a backup plan. This is, and I don't know how to pronounce this, called the Humlebi shawl. And this is by Fiber Tales. I like this because it has a lot of garter stitch. That's always great. But it also has this really pretty bobbly looking detail happening down on the bottom and then some more garter stitch. It's like just enough interest. It's not crazy. It's not gonna like break you with detail. But it also looks like it would be perfect for this color. Now, it's funny that I should mention that this would be perfect for this color because Taylor, didn't you just say that all that bobbly detail gets lost in this color? I did indeed, and I thought about that. So yeah, I mean, yes, I said that. And I don't know why I'm not considering that now, but maybe because it's I wonder if Humlebi means bumblebee. There's little bumblebees in the design. How cute. But I'm thinking that I need to do something with this yarn, and this stuck out to me. And in a shawl, maybe it's not quite such a big deal. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like a hypocrite now, to be honest with you. I might need to rethink that. But what I can tell you is that I am going to frog the still point. It's going to get frogged. Let me know your thoughts. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts, regardless of my opinion, but that's where we stand at this point. Okay, last but certainly not least is my Truss cardigan. I started this, when did I start this? You guys, I think I deleted my project page, which is horrible because I can't remember what size I was knitting. I have some work to do to figure that out. It was a while ago. Yeah. Okay, that being said, this is the Truss cardigan. I've made a good amount of progress. It has these really beautiful truss kind of motifs on the side, knit with like ribbing. And this is knit in the Brooklyn Tweed Shelter yarn, which is a worsted weight woolen spun yarn. Okay, my thoughts. For the first thing is that it is an interesting design. I love this. I love the concept of that truss kind of shaping that's happening on the sides. I love that you see So there's that half triangle truss shape, and then the split hem is right at the bottom of that. It's kind of an interesting design element to have it be divided down at the bottom by a split hem. Really love that. I also really love the progress that I made on this project, and despite, or you know, contrary to my thoughts on the still point sweater and the progress I made there, and still being completely like on the frog pond, you know, side of things over there, I really just don't think I want to give up on this. I don't think that I want to just toss in the towel, because I have made such great progress. I mean, you guys, I did a tubular cast on with, insert that name here, yarn. That's not something I typically do. Usually when it says there's a tubular cast on involved, I'm like, I'll just do long tail cast on and move on. But I was ready. And then I also know that I did a gauge swatch for this. In fact, I have my little gauge swatches in a basket down here, and I am pretty sure in a Fringe Supply Company porter bin. Oh, here it is. I actually knit a gauge swatch for this. There it is. Not only did I knit the swatch, I didn't iron the swatch. I washed it and laid it flat to dry so that I knew I was getting gauge, and I got gauge, and that's kind of an amazing thing for me. So that means that I was serious about this when I cast it on. And I don't think that that is something to, you know, shake a stick at. I think is, do you shake a stick at things like that? This meant something to me when I casted it on. I made this much progress. I'm not ready to abandon it. Also, kind of a bonus, I get to shop for some cute buttons. And that's like something that I don't do typically. And I love to have an opportunity to go to Joann's or Michael's. Michael's doesn't really have buttons, but Joann's has buttons, and shop for some cute buttons. So that's a bonus. Okay, cons. I don't have many, but I have some. The first being this color. Why did I choose red for a cardigan? That might seem like a weird question, like why not choose red for a cardigan? But when you think about cardigans and you think about how we wear them, why we wear them, red is just not a workable color for those things. So for example, why do we wear cardigans? Well, because we want to get warm and cozy quickly. We want to throw it over whatever we're wearing, right? Anything that we're wearing. Grab the cute cardigan, throw it over, you're put together, you're warm and you're cozy. But red throws a whole wrench into that operation, because you reach for that red cardigan to throw over whatever you happen to be wearing, and it's probably not going to go with like 50% of the stuff you have, if not more, that you happen to be wearing, because it's red. Red is not a color that goes with everything. It is not a neutral. It is a primary color, and this is a blue red. There's a lot of blue in here because it's marled with this like cool gray. Yeah, so it's definitely more on the blue side of red. And yeah, there we go. When it focuses, you can kind of see what I'm saying. I feel like the light in here is belying the coolness of this color, but it is. And cool reds, particularly, are very difficult to pair with things. You have to find the right thing to put it with. Like, I couldn't put it with what I'm wearing right now. It just wouldn't go. It would clash with lots of different colors that I have on. However, if it were a different color, even something like yellow, like a mustard, believe it or not, is not typically a neutral color. However, it works great as a neutral. It goes with so many different things. So the color is a huge con for me. I just think that I really dropped the ball when it came to figuring out the color. This color would not be a problem at all if this were a pullover, because when you put a pullover on, you're covering your whole upper body. So really the only thing that you have to coordinate is your pants. And typically we wear neutral pants, right? So that's usually not an issue. So that was something I thought too, is like, well, if I frogged this, I could come up with a pullover design that I could knit instead, which I did. I came up with an alternative, but then that would be a good way to use the yarn for something you'd be able to get more wear out of. Because as it stands right now, I don't see myself wearing a red cardigan very often. I don't know, that might not be the case. Maybe if I had the full cardigan in my closet, I would find ways to wear it more frequently, but I don't know. That's just one of my cons with this. That being said, the alternative design, and actually I think that that's the only con that I have, but the alternative design that I came up with for this, should I decide to frog it, is the Brooklyn Tweed First Raglan Pullover. Let me see if I can find it here, and of course I will pop it up on the screen for you. It's a fantastic design if you want to knit your first raglan. Just for those of you that might be new to sweater knitting, definitely check it out. I read over the design and I really think it's just great for those of you that are trying to knit your first raglan. And not only that, the design itself is really nice. I love the shaping. So here is, what is it? Yeah, first raglan sweater. Can I go, let's see. It's really beautiful. The shape is nice. I love that it has 3/4 length sleeves. Makes it just kind of really wearable for more than one season. It's a little bit cropped, which is always nice. You could wear it with cute pants, sweats, a dress. It's pretty versatile. And in this particular design, they're using what's called the Brooklyn Tweed tones. I really don't know a ton of what they're doing with the tones. I haven't researched it. Oh, here's like just the straight up like schematic image of the sweater. But it is a worsted weight yarn. And I almost want to say it's the same thing as Shelter, but it's just the colors are, different. They're doing something different with the color. So that was my alternative should I decide to frog this. Now, I would love to be able to say that sitting here right now, I'm 100% convinced that I'm not going to frog this, that I'm going to keep it. But I'm not there. I'm still kind of I don't know if I'm on the fence. I'm on the side of the fence for keeping it, but I'm not all the way there. I would love to know your thoughts on this. I would love to know what you would do if you were in this position. Yeah, so far, to run it down, this is where we stand so far. The still point, which is here, which is knit in Tiff Neilan hand knits still point sweater, knit in Fiber for the People in the BFL DK base on the Claret colorway. Definitely getting the frog. The Koivua by Caitlyn Hunter, knit using Green Mountain Spinnery yarn, which is, the colors are so lovely and gorgeous. I am thinking I'm definitely going to keep this. I'm almost certain. The Truss cardigan, the one that I swatched for, the one that I did a tubular cast on, the one that is probably 2/3 of the way finished, but the one that is also red. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. But those are my 3 whips. Those are my thoughts on those whips. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as I gab with you about my frog or finish whips. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Definitely click the bell icon so you can be notified of content as I post it. I post twice a week on Wednesdays and on Sundays, and occasionally I'll pop in some extra videos. Also, Fiber for the People yarn, my hand-dyed yarn, is having a shop update this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you guys, it's going to be huge and beautiful, just like I like my shop updates. Don't want to miss it. Until the next time we meet, which will be Sunday for the regular podcast episode, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.